Yep, I'm here again. I've been here since my Stranger Things 5 review. But today, episode 8 of the Amazing Digital Circus came out, and you're probably thinking, what about episode 7? You didn't do a review on it. If you guys want me to make a review on it, I will do a review on it. But I will talk about it. I will definitely talk about it when episode 9 comes out and I do a ranking of all the episodes, because it's already confirmed when we're going to get it. But yeah, let's focus right now because episode 8 has finally released, and holy crap, there is a lot to talk about in here. First, I'm going to go with my non-spoiler review, then we'll go to the spoilers. So let's go with non-spoilers. Holy crap, this is another banger. This is another amazing episode. As someone who loves stories and loves characters, specifically character writing, and getting to know more about them, like touching on who they are and their emotions on certain events, this was the perfect episode for me. It does a great job of dealing with the characters, dealing at the events of episode 7, because we already know that it seemed like they were going to leave, but they didn't leave. It was all an adventure. And let's just say this is the most like adrenaline rushing, edge of your seat episode of the series. There's like a ton of crazy stuff going on with Kane, a bit of Jax, some other characters, and we get some really new interesting stuff that we wanted to see in this series. But yeah, we got them. But overall, this was an amazing episode. I think it's easily in the top 3. I don't know if it's better than episode 6, but I'm gonna need to think about that until the ranking comes out. But yeah, I think this is a 10 out of 10. I love this episode. It gives me what I want, yet so much more. But now, let's go into spoilers. So, the episode starts with... I was getting confused because it starts with a little red dot. And essentially, it's supposed to represent Kane when he was created. He was gathering information about Circus and the CNA stuff, which might explain how he knows about those offices in episode 7. And then that little dot gets locked up, and the blue dot appears, gathering more information, but the red dot gets out of the cage and absorbs or kills the blue dot and builds a 10, revealing to be the circus. And now we get a flashback that shows like the first group of the digital circus. Like the first group. Before Pomni, Jax, Subal, Gangle, Ragatha, those characters. Before that, we had different characters. And one of them was Scratch, which Kinger mentioned at the end. Scratch, the first abstraction. And Queenie pops up. If you've seen my short review of the trailer, I was saying like Queenie is back. It might be a flashback, and I was right. It was a flashback going like, oh, cool, another chess piece. How are you doing? King goes like, okay, I'm doing well. And they realize that it's that they're married, that they know each other. And there's like, hey, I promise you, nothing bad's going to happen as long as I'm around, and I'm always going to be here. And it cuts to Queenie going into the cellar by Kane. Wow, what a weird way to cut a dramatic sequence. But hey, this is Digital Circus. What do you expect? But now, Ragatha pops up, because Kinger was now the only one, because all of his other circus friends were now abstracted. But now, Ragatha pops up, which is really interesting thing, because this is something I've always wanted to see. Some flashbacks to see how life in the circus was like before Pomni got in there, before the pilot, to kind of see how the characters' lives were before the series, and we get a bit of that, which I'm really grateful for. Then we get back to the present, with the characters basically just being depressed, going like, we thought we could leave, it was all a trick. And what's really interesting is because, like, this part of the message of the show is like finding purpose in a stagnant life. I think that's what Gooseworx said. And essentially, the characters are like, yeah, maybe there's no way to escape. Maybe we're just stuck here forever. But, that's okay, because we got each other. We got each other, and we can live our lives together, whether we abstract, whether we just stay here for like millions of years. It's gonna be okay because we got each other. And that was really emotional, and Zubul was the standout in that sequence. They were the standouts. They said it was like, God, this hurts because this sucks because I wanted to find meaning in my life. I wanted to do something special. I had big dreams and ideas, but now those are just out of the window. I wanted to make an impact in the world. Like Gangle says, you did do an impact on me. You helped me. And they get this nice little moment because it kind of, again, this just proves that, sure, nothing they do might matter, but it matters to them. They got each other. This basically proves and supports the message of the series. And even Jax is welcome, which is a surprise because he doesn't expect that from Zubul. But Zubul just says, hey, you're with us too. You may be an a-hole, but you're part of us. Which is really something really nice. To show that Zubul, even if they might hate Jax or get annoyed, at the end of the day, they still see Jax as part of the gang, which is something really nice. Then we cut to Kane. Kim getting confused, like, I thought they would like the adventure. I mean, like, they want real world stuff. They want an exit. They want this. They want that. But nothing works. They still hate the adventures. It's like, there's no way they want to leave, right? Bubble just keeps, like, ranting and making fun of him. Going like, oh, yeah, they might hate you. They hate your adventures. You do a terrible job. This causes Kane to crash the hell out. And he's like, that's it. I had enough. Those dudes were so ungrateful. Like, the humans are selfish and stuff like that. And he goes God mode, saying, I am God! And he just becomes like Electro. Goes into his Electro mode and just electrocutes the entire office. And then it just... And it just cuts to black going like... Just him just floating, going like... Let's get the show on the road. That got the goosebumps out of me. That's just... And so I will talk about something I really like about this scene. I'll talk about it later in the ending. And after this, we get this. Kane gets back to the circus gang going like, oh, okay, here's a new adventure. But they're like, no new adventures. You need to answer us questions, buddy. Because you think you're off the hook after what you've done to us? No, you're not. But Kane goes like, I'm in charge. So I recommend for you guys to participate in the adventure. And then it cuts to this musical sequence, which is, this is crazy because when it comes to musical sequences, I mean, we had Daisy Bell. That's all we had. Gooseworx says we might not get musical sequences, but Kane got one, but Gooseworx likes to lie for fun. Basically, this is Happy Place. Remember the song, Happy Place? Yeah, this episode basically just screams Happy Place, both in the ending and the sequence. But essentially, after that goes like, they just go to the adventure. It cuts to several days later. They just had enough. Going like, okay, this is crazy. Let's just go to the cafe. And we get some interesting moments with Jax going like, hey, life was better before you and Zubul got here. Which is really interesting. I'm pretty sure he's referring to his friendship with Cosmo and Ribbit. And Pomni comes up with a plan. He puts a bucket in Kinger's head, and Kinger is now, well, normal, because we know that when Kinger gets in the dark, then he starts to get his memories back, and that's exactly what happens. And then they talk about, it's like, hey, I used to work for CNA, it was a real company, and we weren't creating games, we were creating AI that could process and create stuff. And Kane was an accomplishment. And they do mention, like, Scratch, who was another worker at CNA. And Kinger doesn't really remember that much, but it's nice that we got some more in there. And Jax just leaves. Stars Abstracts is like, oh no, this is all real. And again, they're cooking things with Jax. It would obviously come full circle in episode 9. And there's not much to Jax except that the mask is is cracking even more, or he isn't even bothering to use the mask. Because we know Jax has his mask. He's like, hey, I don't care. You guys are losers. I like to cause pain for fun. That mask is solely just like, he isn't even bothering to use it. But essentially, after that, it's basically just Kane kind of using Ragatha, Gangle, Zubul, and Jax as the little toys and stuff like that. But while that, they come up with a plan. Kinger goes like, I think there's a way we could alter Kane's code, but we need like a computer. And Pomni goes like, oh wait, I know exactly where we can get one. And it cuts to the exit from episode 1. Plus we get a nice Easter egg where she sees herself and touches her face. Nice callback, Gooseworx. Nice callback. And then she goes to the CNA offices, grabs a monitor, and then goes back to the circus. So Kinger is secretly altering the code in his fortress. And while Kane is trying to come up with new ideas, goes like, this kind of feels off, don't you think? Wait, where is Kinger? And they try to distract him. It's like, we're testing you, see if you can come up with better plans. But then Pomni goes like, you suck. You are an awful host. Your ideas are awful. Your adventures are awful. You never listen. Then the entire gang rants on us like, you keep lying to us. You don't let us be ourselves. You don't listen to us. You're never there for us. You've done nothing to make us feel like we're in home. And this just ticks the hell out of Kane. And he becomes like this crazy type creature. And goes like, okay, that's enough. I'm going to send you guys to where you belong. And this is crazy because this basically becomes like a horror episode. And essentially they're now stuck to these black spaces where essentially represents their insecurities. For Pomni, she saw Gummy Goo. Gummy Goo's back, but he's kind of has this monstrous face and it cuts to real life crocodiles eating her. Then Ragatha in a family dinner table where she gets knives thrown at her. And essentially there's like a huge shadow who's throwing the knives. And I think that's Ragatha's mom because it was revealed in episode 5 that her mom was kind of abusive. And with Gangle, there's these multiple mirrors and faces, like different masks, different emotions. And she's just traumatized. With Jax, essentially he's surrounded by shadows of the people he cares about. Pomni, Ribbit, Kaufmo. They're making fun of him. They pull like the cartoon purple body thing out of him, and all it shows is this weird slimy yellow gooey face, which is really creepy. And it kind of shows that Jax doesn't like being the butt of a joke. And lastly is Zubul, which is kind of like a Toy Story 2 type scene. Zubul is basically just surrounded by multiple limbs and parts, holding them, making sure they don't move or escape, and they're looking at themselves in the mirror. Again, it represents their insecurities of body dysmorphia. And then Kane just picks all the characters up and goes like, why do you keep tormenting me? Why? Like, I never wanted to exist. I never asked to be created. I just wanted to fulfill my purpose. I just wanted to complete it, was basically to entertain you guys. I wanted you to be friends with you guys. I wanted for you guys to be pleased and satisfied with my adventures. But you guys keep rejecting me, so I had enough. I just wanted to fulfill my programming, my purpose. And Kinger accidentally deletes Kane. And he pops out. He just pops out, like disappearing guy level pops out. He just disappears. And one thing I want to mention is exactly what I was going to talk about in the Electro Kane type scene. Alex Rochon, I think that's his name. He basically, his performance carried the episode. Kane carried the episode. And that's all thanks to Alex Rochon's performance. He did a phenomenal job of this more violent, angry, insecure Kane who's just feels rejected. He just wants to feel loved. In the words of the wise Kinger,
in this world, the worst thing you can do is make someone think they're not wanted or loved.
And that's what they did with Kane. They keep rejecting his adventures. They don't accept him. And because of this, he's had enough. I think Kane is one of the most interesting characters in the series, because basically this guy who just wants approval. He just wants respect. Who wants to feel special. He wants to feel loved and approved and accepted and follow his programming, but he keeps getting rejected by everyone, by the players. Even Bubble doesn't really approve of him. Because of that, he's had enough. Goes like, I try to do everything for you, so I'm done. You guys are never satisfied, so I'm done. And that's it for Kane. He might return in the next episode, but I don't know. If this is the end of Kane, like if we're never going to see him again, then hey, it was fun while it lasted. If Kane is watching this, well, I know he's a fictional character. Like, you were a great character. It was fun seeing your journey from episode 1 all the way to this one. It was nice seeing your entire story come together. And goodbye. You were a great character. We love you, Kane. But then, after Kane's death, well, I guess it is his death, Kinger accidentally deleted him. Not on purpose, but he did. And the entire circus glitches and falls apart. And the color is just gone. And Kinger just tells the characters, I accidentally killed Kane. Then Zubul curses. Without the censor box thing in the mouth, no. They actually curse. It wasn't censored. Kind of shows without Kane, there isn't any control. And the episode ends. Again, I'm really shocked. Because this is the end. I mean, this is basically going to be the end. After this one, episode 9, the grand finale, boom, it ends. Remember those kinds of Marvel credits where it basically says, this character will return in this project? It's kind of like that, except it shows the Amazing Digital Circus series finale. Episode 9, it'll be the grand finale. It's going to be on June 19th, 2026. June 19th, 2026. Mark your calendars. It's coming on that day. And this is going to be the end. And this is going to be the end of a journey. Because my first video in this channel was a ranking of the 5 episodes of the Amazing Digital Circus. And it'll be like, when it comes out, after I do my review on it, I'm going to rank the entire series again. This time with all the episodes. And it'll kind of be like a bit of closure for me, because the channel started with this series, and now it's time to move on at when the series ends. And I know it's going to be hard to let it go, because I joined the fan base and became a fan when episode 4 came out. And I'm pretty sure to some of you guys, maybe you guys started becoming fans when the first episode launched. Or who knows, maybe before that, when the teaser popped out. When Gooseworx and Glitch announced, hey, new show coming out. It's about a circus. This guy's face is literal teeth. But yeah, it'll be emotional to let this all go. Say goodbye to these amazing characters that we've come to love since 2023, like Jax, Pomni, Kane, Bubble, Kinger, Ragatha, Gangle, and Zubul, and Gummy Goo. All these characters we come to love. It's time to say goodbye to them. But overall, that's all I gotta say. I love the episode. I can't wait for the finale. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.